Hello, friend. Today I want to tell you a story, something that just happened to me, which was very, very sweet, but also had a very important message. So I've made two very lovely new friends recently. One that I met in a garden, and I noticed he was doing some focusing practices doing this and looking all powerful in between his study sessions. And he's a very sweet man. And another friend who I met walking around the park only the other day, who is also practicing meditation and has a lovely, sweet energy to her. And I like to take a walk around the park before I record these, just to clear and put me in a nice state of energy. And so I go out of the door and emerge out onto the pavement, and I see my male friend walking towards me, and I go, "Oh, hey man, nice." Take a step forward past the wall, emerging out onto the pavement, and I see my other new friend, the female friend, coming towards me at exactly the same point. They both walking in, and then there's the three of us standing here, and I just start laughing and enjoying the moment, because what a beautiful coincidence. And I say hi both to them, they reintroduce, and then we say, okay, we're all just going for a quiet walk around the park in the evening. We're walking together now, and we are sharing our experiences with different spiritual practices we've tried. And what my male friend, Max, and Vivi are their names, Max says was just what I needed to hear at the moment, because he was describing some practices which he tried when he was a bit younger. Practices which involve going very deep into your own imagination and finding to open yourself up to different possibilities. But he said that when he was doing this, that he felt like he was going a bit crazy, because he was so open to feeling and emotion that he was feeling the love of the world so intensely and feeling the pain and suffering of the world so intensely. And as a result, he was struggling to integrate his life into others, and he was struggling to focus on his work, and he was in quite a unbalanced state. And since then, he has been seeing the benefit in being a lot more grounded in the everyday, and he still performs his practices and meditates every day, but he values the importance of sticking to a boring everyday routine as well, and focusing on his studies and that sort of thing. And this really hit me, because this opening yourself up to feeling, and feeling the love but also feeling the suffering of others, is something that I've been experiencing, I would say fairly intensely the last few days. But from the sound of Max's experience, it sounds like he went way, way deeper into this than I have. And because even though I've been feeling all this, it's still been just such a beautiful experience for me, and I have been able to still work and do all the things I need to do each day, but it's been each day has been so beautiful, and if anything, I think I've been more effective because I've not been distracted by YouTube videos, and I've not been overeating, and I've just felt actually quite focused, but also very very in touch with myself. And yeah, it feels like a nice way to operate, but at the same time, I can recognize that if you go deeper into the rabbit hole of these practices, like I was describing in my other video, like the visualization practices in Vajrayana, and yeah, I can definitely get a sense that if you go really, really deep into this, you will lose touch with reality. And it's incredible that the human channel can be opened so wide like that, to the point that, yeah, you're no longer functioning. And the reason this conversation has hit me is that what I'm sharing with you now is not something I've ever read or heard expressed, despite 5 strong years of very, very intense research and inquiry and exploration into all of these practices, and I've never heard that was even possible. Only you hear stories about some spiritual beings, and the way that they see the world, and it sounds so profound and beautiful, but yeah, I've never read in a book that these practices should be handled with care. And so in the meditation manuals I've got, in the yoga manuals, it doesn't seem like there's any capacity to go so deep into this, which makes me think that these are more imagination based practices are quite, yeah, are incredibly powerful, and they really need to be used with caution and care. And that's something I really need to reflect on, because I was curious to explore more, but I can see how important it is to stay grounded and as well. And yes, this is also echoing a sentiment that one of my best friends shared with me. I called him the other day when I had this very intense awakening experience, opening up my channel and feeling the pain and the suffering of the world. And he got a bit scared, because he said that he'd explored practices similar when he was in the woods alone, and he also echoed the same sentiment as Max, that he was now finding joy and peace in the day-to-day, and he has a family and a wife now, and I'm going to visit him in the summer, and I can't wait for that, because it's going to be such a beautiful time. I've not seen him in a few years. But having gone deep into these experiences, both of them were scared of where they went to, and both of them have come back and tried to find much more of a balance with their life. And yeah, as I said, I find this quite extraordinary to hear, because I've not heard this before. The only thing that might be making more sense to me now is that a lot of these practices and certain lineages, it's always expressed that it's really important to practice with a guru. And up to now, I could see that there were things that could be misinterpreted, certain insights you have about the nature of reality, and that if you don't have a guru to help guide you, you might misunderstand. But I must admit, most of the time I thought that was just likely to impede your progress, but now I'm recognizing that there's a reason that a lot of these practices have been kept guarded by the communities that keep them, especially in I read only an hour ago that tantric yoga is deliberately the texts that are written about it. There's information in there which is deliberately wrong, so that you can't go all the way with the practice without a guru there to guide you and help you. And now I recognize that this is probably the reason why. They're so powerful, and the potential for destruction in your life if handled without improperly. I can see, yeah, I can see this. And yeah, that is completely different from any of the other meditation and practices I've been doing up to now, which are focused on breathing and asanas and getting more in touch with your body and becoming more embodied. It's a much slower integration, and maybe that's why they're more accessible. So I wanted to share that, if this is something that you're thinking about exploring. To end on a slightly lighter note, I feel like a continuing theme of the last few days has been trusting the process and trusting flow, and that you'll be, if you can get out of your own head and go by feel, then the universe will put you right where you're meant to be when you're meant to be there. And stepping out into the street and seeing my two new friends just come to meet me at exactly the same time was just another example of feeling in awe of that process and just letting things happen. Most of my life I've been very disciplined and focused, and really had to like manhandle things into happening. And this is a completely different way of operating for me. So that is really cool, and that is something that I want to continue with. I hope you're well and that life is smiling on you today.